I mean, you can't take a woman's right to abortion away without hating what makes her a woman. Men hate women. There are men who actively hate women. There are men who don't hate women, but enable, protect, and teach the next generation how to hate and protect abusers. Well, how to hate women and protect abusers. Then there are the men who do nothing, which in my opinion is a type of enabling. And then there's a small fraction of men out there who will actually help you, if it's not too late. And as long as men view women as contemptuous, and it's not the woman that is viewed with hate, it's the femininity. If a woman became a man, that's seen as more acceptable than a man becoming a woman. Transphobia is a lifestyle that hates somebody who was at the height of the hierarchy in society and joined a lower caste of the hierarchy. Men care so much about their masculinity that if any man dares to give it up for any reason, they bully those people, sometimes to suicide. Until we treat women or anyone who has feminine characteristics in a spectrum, whether they're male, female, whatever, until we treat people who have a little bit more femininity than masculinity, we will never see people as equal. Because toxic masculinity hates femininity. They want to control it. They want to dominate it. They want to kill it. They want to shame it. They don't want it in any way that is healthy or kind. And how does that translate to how women are body shamed? Women have to be perfect. And when I say have to, I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that's how society sees them. If men hate femininity, but they'll use it, but they still hate it, how do women view themselves? Women view themselves the same way men view them. That's why women hate their own bodies. That's why women are more likely to be depressed, have borderline personality disorder, have food and dietary disorders, body dysphoria. Because women have to conform to what I call a toxic viewpoint of body image. If women became exactly the kind of person that a man would want, she probably wouldn't look healthy. And every culture has a different body shape preference. I mean, there are countries around the world, if you Google, the perfect man or the perfect woman is so different. That's why I laugh about America's preferences for people who are borderline anorexic in weight. And it's not funny. Some societies, they want women with an extra 30 pounds of curves. Some want straight up and down. I mean, you look at every decade of American history for the last 150 years, you'll see that what men want for a woman's size, shape, and body mass changes. I mean, we've gone to curvy, to skinny, to dangerously skinny, to having more upper body fat. I mean, we've changed so much in every decade, like we change our clothes. You can't match a standard that's constantly changing. It's like catching sand. We teach women that their only value comes from their looks, their hair, their body shape, their ability to have kids. 1 out of 3 couples struggle with fertility. How do you think that makes a woman feel when out of her own power she can't have kids? without a lot of medical and scientific help. I mean, you look in the Bible, women were killed for not being stereotypically feminine. If a woman explored sex the way men do in the Bible, they killed them. Yeah, they would cut off their hands, they would stone them, they would kill them. If a woman didn't bleed her first time, they killed her. And these were girls that weren't even 15, because in society back then, they sold their daughter to a man under the age of 15. I've heard of women giving birth to kings of England at the age of 12. And it's funny how every Christmas the Virgin Mary is always a woman. She wasn't a woman. She was she was basically a prepubescent girl. The Virgin Mary was between 12 and 15. She was a child, probably marrying a man in his 30s, twice her age. Someone who bought her from her father. It's not romantic. She was not even consulted. And you look at the way our society looks and views women is dehumanizing. If women couldn't have kids and refused to do domestic labor for free, men wouldn't put up with them. That's the only reason men put up with women. Free labor and childcare. That's it. If men could have babies with robots, they wouldn't bother us unless it was to control us. And the sad part of society, they already have robots that can give men children. I read about that in China a few months ago. The pressures of being a woman is what causes things like anorexia, dysphoria. And this isn't, and I'm not talking about being transgender at the moment. I'm talking about women who are so uncomfortable and unhappy with their natural body. They mutilate it through plastic surgery, extractions, self-harm, using toxic chemicals to color their hair to be anything but what they are because they think they have to be a certain thing to impress and keep a man for 15 minutes. If someone doesn't like you the way you are, being your best self, don't change who you are because the right person wouldn't want you to. And let's talk about the trans community, a very, very important part of our society. I mean, I lived in Florida for almost 3 years. It's the worst place to be trans. And you can Google that too. And they're trying to take away trans people's gun rights now, even though they don't even make up 1% of the mass shooters in America. If you really want to make a difference, take away all the white people's guns. That'll make a difference, because they make up 53% of mass shooters. And 3 out of 4 shootings are done by white supremacists, who are white and cis and straight. It's so stupid to go after a group that doesn't even make up 1% of mass shootings, when 75% are by white people, usually hate group members. But women are so uncomfortable, shamed, and so ingrained inside our own bodies. Women kill themselves. They go as far as to mutilate themselves, to starve themselves, to vomit up food that runs their intestines, their esophagus. They lose their teeth because they have to be perfect. Be perfect for people who will only care about them in a toxic way for as long as they're perfect. If you're your best self and somebody doesn't like you, that says something about them, not you. Women who are in situations where they don't feel safe in their own skin due to internalized homophobia, transphobia, sexism, misogyny, just doubled their chance of having eating disorders. I mean, people as famous as Princess Diana had things like eating disorders due to pressures of conformity and isolation. I mean, I don't think anyone on the planet is as isolated as trans people. It is dangerous to be trans. And when I mean dangerous, I mean you just joined the group that's probably the most hated in America. You're probably in the group that has the highest hate crime potential. Suicide statistics are the highest among trans people. Being thrown out of your family home as a minor or young adult is the highest among trans people. I wouldn't wish Florida on a trans person because that's how transphobic that place is. They're so transphobic and homophobic in Florida. The governor and the president removed the Orlando Pulse shooting memorial, the rainbows, on the concrete where people drive past because they're terrified of people who won't conform to toxic masculinity. Men who aren't afraid to show affection to other men. They don't hesitate to show affection to the people they care about, which is considered an unmasculine trait, even though it's not. Biology and scientific methods and scientific experiments have taught us men are the most emotional gender on this planet. Nobody is more emotional than men, which is why it's so toxic that the red pill society expects men to be stone. And that's why it's so hard for men to come out, because of this toxic view that men can't cry, men can't express affection and express their feelings without being called hysterical. And the word hysterical, comes from the Latin meaning uterus. It's basically an insult for people who aren't women. Even though, in my opinion, the most emotional people are the ones with the prostates. And that's not me saying that, that's John Hopkins. The problem in our society is we view masculinity as there's only one pair of shoes you can buy. None other exists. You have to be a certain size. You have to have this thing to be happy. It's the basis of all advertising slogans and billboards. You can't be happy unless you do this. How many people has that killed? Nobody has to be anything as long as it's legal and it's right for them. Women are shamed, sometimes in church. And you can Google this on YouTube. Women who are shamed for being plus-sized in church. I watched a rant about a woman wearing a red shirt, a red dress, I don't remember, but it was something red. And she was crying in the lobby of a church because a self-righteous, supercilious bigot was making a statement about her body shape. And this is what church does. Religion always makes you feel bad about yourself. That's why they call it sin, guilt, shame, remorse. Even though the people in church that get caught doing felonies don't show genuine remorse. It's not genuine if you have remorse after you get caught or after they publish your face in the newspaper. Remorse is when it's before everyone finds out, before you become the lead column in a newspaper. And I have I wouldn't say a rare eating disorder. Due to me not meeting female requirements, I overeat out of stress due to the toxic nature of my childhood. The purity culture, the gender roles, the hatred and the fear against non-Christian people causes me to overeat, which causes weight issues. And a lot of women die because they have to have a 20, 35, 30, or whatever the measurements are to be perfect. But you look at what women were expected to be in 1960, and you look at what they were expected to be in 1990, and then you look at what they're supposed to be in 2025, it's not the same. Don't be a part of a requirement that constantly changes. You'll never win. And women, I always think of that one speech from the Barbie movie. And if you've heard it before, that's okay. I'm going to say it for people who've heard it or haven't heard it. This is how our society views and expects women to be. It's literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart. And it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy. But also, you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for other men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be part of a sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful, but never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to accomplish and acknowledge that, but always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all that is also true for a doll just representing women, then I don't even know. The issue is, in our society, we have to be a specific something. But we can't brag about it. We can't be too perfect at it. We can't point out the double standards. And we can't be something else. And if we're not grateful that we even have the opportunity to be the sexist, expected, toxic version of what we don't want to be, we're labeled something else. In a world where social expectations often limit individuality, the Barbie movie takes center stage, showcasing a journey of empowerment and self-discovery that challenges all stereotypes and redefines male and female beauty and success. This movie highlights the complex and contradictory expectations that society often places on women. It expresses the immense pressure on women to conform to unrealistic standards of beauty, behavior, and success. Less than 10% of women meet the expected gender body shape, and it's usually because of genetics and luck.